The size really matter. In today's video, guys, I want to discuss something that's been bothering me for years. I see a lot of comments on the social media where big companies are trying to diminish small companies. There is a lot of measuring who is bigger, who is smaller. So the question I have for you is, does size really matter? I see a lot of guys, and again, because of the social media, are trying to match bigger dogs in their towns. They think that, okay, this company is so big, and how this company can be so successful, and people who become really successful and really big, they're trying to bully smaller companies. And I'm here to tell you that size does matter, but you have to understand the size and you have to understand your numbers. So let's talk about numbers in the roofing business. Let's talk about different sizes, how they relate, and what really matters when we're talking about roofing business size. So first thing, I don't want to have any conversation with any business owner about numbers if you don't show me at least 3 years of records. To talk about business size, you have to see the trend. If you would be applying for a loan, if you would be selling your business, nobody would talk to you if you don't have 3-year records. So I see a lot of business owners, they would go in and 1 year you can do 1 million, and then next year you might even do 10 million. But then what if, this is not a trend. You might have major storm, you might have a couple really big jobs here all of a sudden, but then following year you drop to 5. So what's the size of your business? Like, if I would buy this business, would I buy it on the first year in business, on the second year, or in the third one? I don't know what's going to happen to that business. I don't know if it's stable. I don't know what kind of culture. It doesn't give me anything. But if you have a business that maybe does 2, 3, and 4, now each year it's growing, it's trending, and I can say, okay, this next year they might do 5. You get the idea. So to look at any business numbers, you have to look at least a 3-year record. And I see a lot of it happening with the storm chasers. They'll go in and they'll have really good storm or really big event, and their numbers are skewed. That's why I hate personal storms, because they mess everybody up. It's low-hanging fruit, and yes, it's good bonus, it's good cash in our pockets, but it's really bad for the business, for longevity of our business, sometimes for our brains, for our minds. So I would not be counting on storms money, on storm size and what it does to us, because unless you make every storm every year count and then you never go back, now we can talk about numbers. So even if you're a storm chaser and you every single year you have higher and higher number, but if you're not steady, like you don't know your business numbers, you don't know your true size. So for one, this is really important when we talk about numbers. 3 years record, if you don't have it, you should not be arguing that you're a bigger player or you're more important or whatever just because you have one good solid year. When you have 3-year record, now we can talk about real numbers. Second one, I want to talk about area and other factors. To be honest with you, size of the business, sometimes it's irrelevant, because you can't compare small town in Alabama and Colorado, like completely different cities, completely different opportunities. As a matter of fact, $3 million business in Alabama could worth more than $10 million business in Colorado for many reasons. I understand there is a supply and demand and all of that, but you have to look at numbers a little bit different. You have to look at the potential. That small business in Alabama, pop and mom shop, it can be very profitable, it can have amazing reputation, and it might never go out of business because people gonna keep coming and coming back, because that company has been in business for 40 years. They have reputation, they have, entire family works for them. It's a steady business, you can sell it. If you compare that business to business in, let's say, Colorado or Minneapolis or Dallas, even if it's seems like a bigger business on paper, maybe it's doing double, but it's if something happens to the owner, or if storm doesn't happen, or it's bad year like they say, all of a sudden, because storm didn't happen, their sales drop in half. I see that all the time, because a smaller town, if it's not hail market, they do 3 million steady every single year, it says something about the business. Or you can compare like Boston, Massachusetts to North Carolina, where going rate is 250 to 550. Supply and demand for labor is different, material is different, logistics different, everything is different. $3 million business in North Carolina can be more profitable than business in Boston. I doubt it, but it can happen. So numbers only relevant to the area and some other factors. So let's dive in and look at the numbers, and is there such a thing as a perfect number, perfect size of the business? So I'm gonna start with the 100,000 here, and we're gonna go all the way to 100 million plus. Obviously, there's roofing businesses all over the place, but what's the perfect size? I see some guys are trying to really grow. They have pretty much no limits. They want to be 20, 25 million in like 3 years in business, which is fine. And I see a lot of guys who stop at 5 and super happy. And I've heard it a lot, people who run $4 or $5 million businesses, they say they don't want to grow no more. As a matter of fact, I've seen a lot of smart business owners who scale down. They've been at 10, 12, and they get back to 7, 8. So they found their perfect size. You have to find your perfect size, and I'm gonna try to help you to brainstorm what your perfect size is. So 100,000 here, obviously this is the starting point. If you're doing anything from 100 to 1 million, you probably have 1-2 employees. If that, you really can do $1 million, by yourself. $1 million is how much one person can sell and produce per year. Like when I was doing $1 million, I literally have one receptionist and one helper who was helping me with the repairs. It was a team of 3. $1 million is a very, very minimum. I call this area here, you can work it from home. You don't really need office. You don't need much. This is very easy, like I would say full-time job with some helpers. I would not recommend anybody stay there because you don't have a business yet. You wear all the hats. You are the business, right? It's more like a hobby. Now, when you go from that point, you have I would say 1 to 5 million. It's the most crucial growth you're gonna have in this business, and it's the hardest one. It's not that hard to go to like from 1 to 2 million, but it's extremely hard to go to 5. Let me explain why. To get to 5 million, you have to manage 3, 4, 5 sales guys. It's not easy to manage those guys. You also will need production manager, you need somebody answering your phone calls, you will need some kind of office and warehouses, you will need process. You actually will have to have a lot of business knowledge. You can't work from home and doing $5 million. It's possible, it's doable, but you have to have a process, especially if you're planning to do it for 3 years straight, year in, year out, not just 1 year, somehow make $5 million. So it's gonna be very hard. I would say that the red zone for me is up to $3 million. So once you get your office, your overhead gonna start growing, you're gonna start buying insurances for your business, you're gonna start buying vehicles, you're gonna start having overhead. And this is crucial time because from 1 to 3 million, your risk is gonna be high. Your break-even point is going to be pretty high. You're going to have employees, you're going to have turnover rate, and so on. So this is, for me personally, it's red zone. Now, green for me starts at right about $3 million. I would say 3 million. What I've seen, and I've seen hundreds of businesses, 3 million, it's a good size, but it's almost like breaking even for a lot of businesses. So if you have warehouse and you pay $1,500, $2,000 per month, you have insurance. If you do everything right, you're gonna have a lot of expenses. To cover those expenses, if you do $3 million in the market where you're open for business 12 months out of the year, you should be fine. For me, like markets like Minneapolis or Canada or like somewhere up north, 3 million is not gonna cut it because of the winter months. So it's very hard to make money, to save, to have enough profit to be in business in the winter months. So 3 million, that's where kind of breaking point. And then what's the perfect size here? My answer would be just like when you go to the gym, you have to decide how much muscles do you want to have. Are you comfortable with your body as is? Do you want to be lean? Do you want to have massive shoulders, or do you want to have a bodybuilder? So guys who like to flex muscles, maybe you want to be $25 million, maybe you want to be 50, maybe you want to be, you know, Mr. Olympia, and you want to have it all. It's really up to you. I would say there is no golden rule. I've met so many business owners who stayed, you know, 5 million, 7 million, 8 million, and they're happy, they're content, they don't want nothing else. They've run to $20 million and they came back to 10, 15. As a matter of fact, I've seen a lot of mentors who would not let their customers go on past, you know, 15, 17. It really depends on the market. It really depends on your personality. What kind of struggles do you have? If you're running already 15 million and your biggest problem is to hire good talent, good people, and you feel like you're maxing out, sometimes it's easier to go a little bit back but stay in more profitable. By the way, size of the business, it's nice size of the profit. Just because you're making $20 million doesn't really mean that you're gonna make more money than somebody who does $10 million a year. I've seen businesses who have the size, but they make more money. As a matter of fact, in my own business, we did the same amount of money both years in sales, so 4 million and 4 million. And when I look at the numbers, my second 4 million following year was equivalent to 6 million for the first year, like as far as the profit margins go. So you can make more money doing the same. And I would say this, I've seen more people super happy here than anywhere else. I've seen people going out of business who've been doing 40, 50 million, and I've never seen people who are doing 4 or 5 million who are doing it year in, year out, constantly growing, who are not happy. This is the most happiest, the best work-life balance I've seen in this industry. This is, for me, perfect size. Now, you still can grow. I believe that you still should increase your business, you know, maybe 20, 30% every year. Now, if you want to run $15 million business, I mean, you might get there in 5 years or 2 years. Again, storms happen. Sometimes our numbers get jacked up. If you're running $5-6 million business already, I mean, you might get 2 commercial jobs and it's gonna double you 1 year. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't be waiting for it. I definitely would not turn the business down. But the point is, 5-6 million is almost ideal size. I mean, anything starting 4 and up, it can be 4 to 8. You decide where you are, and I want to hear from you if you're happy with the size of your business. Again, this is the feedback I've been getting from a lot of roofers. I've been in a lot of offices, and this is what I see. So my message to you is find what works for you. For me, this is just like fitness. Whatever healthy for you, whatever healthy for my body. I don't think it's healthy to have shoulders like this. I don't think it's healthy for me to try to lift, you know, 700-pound deadlift. But I'm okay with the 500-pound. I'm okay with it. Keep working on my numbers. Like wherever you feel like healthy for your mental health, for your family, for everything else you do, for your work-life balance. Find that niche. Don't try to kill yourself just because you feel like everybody on the Facebook is more successful. It's irrelevant. I see so many business owners on Facebook, they're big shots and everything, and then before you know it, they filing bankruptcy, closing the shops and start something new. You don't know what's behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, what's behind the scenes, a lot of times it's not what you see, you know, especially on the social media. A lot of times there's ugly secrets, there's bankruptcy, people don't pay their bills, they don't pay their vendors. They're not gonna show you their tax returns, they're just gonna show you the trucks they buy, the offices they have. As a matter of fact, we have a company here in Minneapolis. Google Thor Construction and follow the story of what happens to them. They closed their business in 2019. They've been one of the biggest contractor in town. They work on projects like Target, US Bank Stadium, companies like that, right? Huge company. Before they closed, they were celebrating $36 million headquarter building. They purchased $36 million building for themselves, and they went out of business, got sued, didn't pay their vendors, and have judgment for $3 million against them right now. Couldn't finish Target center field, so Target stepped in and other contractors were finishing work. It can be ugly, and their sales were 300 and 80. So if you would read something like, oh, how do you buy $36 million headquarters? I mean, it's a nice headline, but then they're out of business. Scandal after scandal completely ruined their name, their reputation. So do what's good and healthy for you. Stop following other people. Stop paying attention to the noise. This is your business. This is what you need to understand. Was the hardest thing to understand for me. If you do $10,000 job, you're only getting a lot of times $1,000 profit. The question is, how many jobs do you really have to do per month to stay profitable? So that's what people don't understand. This is why you can't be in red. Just because you've done 10 jobs per month, it doesn't mean that you're profitable yet. Just like you go to McDonald's, McDonald's sells their burger for like, let's say $8, and it costs them $1 to do. So they do make money on that burger. You're like, oh wow, this is crazy margin. Well, it's not. Ask yourself how many burgers they have to sell per day. It's profitable if you sell enough. This is why size matters. This is why you can't stay here. Even if you do 1 or 2 million a year, you might not be selling enough jobs to even stay open. Just because you sold 100 roofs a year, it doesn't make you profitable yet. So perfect size starts usually about, I would say 2.5, 3 million, and now you're in the green zone and you decide what's good for you. Let me know, guys, what you think in comments below. I would like to hear your feedback, your story, what makes you happy, what kind of business size you're running right now. What do you feel will be perfect work-life balance for you, like running what kind of numbers every year? And if you did scale back, from what to what did you scale and why? Comment below. When I hear your story, thank you for comment. Give me one of those if you like this content. I'll see you guys in the next video.